Y'all know ain't no introduction because I don't know how to do that. Because we're live. Hey everybody! Happy Friday! I'm on my iPad today and I don't know how to work it. I'm trying to get less house, but I can't. Let's introduce our panelists for today. We have AP, Marky Mark, HD, Enos, Vids. We got a couple people coming in a little bit later, but for now, this is what we have. I'm Shamanay, and this is a Chic critique. Can y'all hear me very well? Oh, how's everybody doing? First things first, we did talk about this last night, but I'm gonna bring it back because I want your opinion on it. Give me a second, because y'all know I ain't never organized. Wait till AP come back. Like y'all just leaving? Just gonna leave. Just
He'll be
look.
back.
That's what Fridays. It's Friday. Like, look, this is not professional on a Friday. Like, how can we ask people to work all day and then come to work? Like, it's a no. What is that? Oh, it's just a cup. Gotcha.
Is that McCollin? McCollin 12? I can't see it. Is it McCollin?
Nah, 1738.
Oh, 1738. Yeah.
What's 1738?
Remy? 1738. I said hello.
Why did they name them after years like that? Is that the year that they came about or something? Or it's just...
Hold on, let's see.
I'm gonna keep it real. I don't know, but
it's the year that the batch was made, and then it's aged from then.
Well, look at here, you drinking something from when?
I hear willingly drinking
slavery. You got that ancient, that old time stuff going down your throat. All right, y'all, let's get this party started. So here's first things first. We did talk about this last night, but I wanted to get you guys' opinion on it. But we're going to put a little spin to it, okay? We all know, what's old girl's name? The one who got pregnant, who had the baby, and she's not married? I know there's a lot of them. The one recent.
Which one?
The one recent. Jessica K, is that her name? Is her name?
Ebony
K. Williams.
Ebony K. Jessica Ebony, you know. Ebony K. So somebody had a legit, and that's what I'm gonna start doing. I'm gonna take some questions from the chat, because if you guys are not a part of the Facebook chat, the Lapeef Facebook group, you are missing out. So this is a legit question from the Lapeef Facebook group. Can somebody read it for me? Because y'all know I ain't got my glasses on.
So let me get this straight. A woman can say she's too good to date a bus driver, but not too good to get pregnant by sperm from a complete stranger?
I mean, he must have been hitting it right.
How y'all feel about that? It's not. It's like artificial. You don't really have sex, right? They inject it, right? Isn't that how artificial goes?
Oh, she was inseminated?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Isn't that how it goes?
Yeah, but it's just, I mean, it sucks getting inseminated, you know, and you ain't got nobody to help take care of the kid. I mean, if it takes two to make it, why only allow one, you know, why only have one part of the equation to keep the child moving forward? It don't really make sense in the long term, because you just getting pregnant by this guy, you know, because he donated his sperm, and you just have a child, and now you're raising the child by yourself when it was designed to have two people. You know what I'm saying? It just seems like a bad deal.
I think that woman is probably one of the most selfish up and coming parents that is in existence right now. Because to purposely say, you know what, I don't want to do the things that it takes to actually have a loving relationship and a stable home to bring my child in so they can be emotionally regulated and then be successful and being a productive member of society without any childhood trauma. Instead of that, I want a baby because I want a baby. My child's well-being is not my first thought. It's really what I want. I've put my needs before my child. So yeah, I can't see that child taking priority. I can see her job just continue taking priority. Same way she put it over a man, she gonna put it over a child. So essentially, it's gonna be a boarding school baby. And I guess hopefully he don't turn into like Epstein or something, because we all know weird. I digress.
What you got, Viz?
I was gonna say that got real dark. That got real dark real quick. I had missed it. I only saw the end of it. So somebody's getting inseminated.
So Ebony K. Williams, she had previously made the comment about she wouldn't date a bus driver because she can only date a man that owns the bus company or in a higher position. So she denigrated all the blue collar workers by that comment, made it seem as though they was worthless, then turned around and had some insight into how she could be a better person, I guess. Took that comment back and said, I did some self-reflection to see what type of woman men actually are attracted to. And I was thinking that they would be attracted to the power couple. I'm at the top of my game. I'm killing it on every level. I'm a judge. I run successful businesses. I have a type A personality. I'm an alpha female. And then she found out no men that she wanted that type of woman. They preferred more soft, feminine, submissive types of women. And it frustrated her. She went on to say, I would have to change my personality to be more agreeable, nicer, and to fit into a mold that these men seem to like. And I'm not willing to do that. So instead of doing that, she decides, all right, I'm just going to get me a baby without a man. I'm going to go buy some sperm, impregnate myself. Nobody going to help me in these 9 months while I'm pregnant. Nobody going to rub my belly. Nobody going to talk to this baby. Nobody going to be there to see the baby pop out that feels like it's a part of them. Yeah, I'm going to deprive the child of having a father, and I'm going to do all of that because I want to do that.
Let me pose a different question to you, gentlemen. Is her decision better and smarter than just sleeping with a random dude and getting pregnant and the dude deucing it up? She has the means. She has the money. What's different between her doing that and somebody, let's say like Nick Cannon, getting all of these women pregnant and using his money to resource that child? What's really the difference? Just a question.
It's the fact that she made the choice instead of being stuck in that circumstance. Like, it's the difference between it happened to her and she made it happen. So if she was to have a baby with a man who decided to opt out, that's circumstances that are out of her control. It's a 50-50 toss-up according to the stats in this space, right, of whether it's going to work out or not. She took a chance and it just didn't work out. Her opting for artificial insemination or IVF is her not even trying.
Can't argue that.
You notice I didn't. I was trying to come up with another retort question. I had nothing because that was a pretty solid answer. But Marcus, you said that she admitted all of this stuff, that she refuses to change who she is. So that's the reason she went this route?
Yeah, she was on Stephen A. Smith discussing the type of women that men like, the type of men she liked. She was discussing the type of women that they like. And she pretty much said that her and her other colleagues who were in the same boat, who were hyper successful, who had similar personality types, were not able to attract the men they thought. And they feel it's an epidemic. But it's really not an epidemic. It's just you attract what you attract.
Well, and the fact that she said that she's not even willing to adjust for that man. Like, I think that kind of, I think that speaks to the bigger problem. Because if you feeling somebody, and it works, and you'll make whatever adjustments instinctively, I think.
The sad thing is, I think the type of man that she would need, she would hate, because she would need an ultra supportive, almost a submissive partner for the type of personality she has, so they don't clash and separate at every angle. And she's convinced herself that that type of man is beneath her. It's a lose-lose, the situation she's in.
So then wouldn't this decision then be the best for her if she wants a kid? And
For
it's
her,
in the
yes. For the child, no. Like, as a parent, you know, this may just be my ideology, but I think your children take precedent over your wants and needs. So
Yeah, that'll be detrimental, I think. Not to go off into the far end, but like Marcus said earlier, we see a lot of serial killers grow up, and they come from homes where they were abused by their mother, or they feel some type of way about their mama. It's just kind of setting them up
most
for.
serial killers are birthed in 2-parent households.
I don't
Raised in
know about
2-parent households.
I don't know
At
about
least
that.
the majority of the ones that I because I was curious about that. But go ahead.
So to support Via's point, what we talk about when you in Hollywood, and then some of the like affluent spaces where they hire other people to raise their children, we seen the influx of E.J. Johnson and Zaire Wades and who else? So there seems to be something going on in Hollywood, and those parents are predominantly not present. They are trusting their kids to be raised by other people. So is there a correlation? I think it is, but I can't prove it.
I mean, well, Dwayne Wade's son was raised by his mother first, though.
Well, they took him when he was young, and they took him from the mom. The other older boys were raised with her by the mom. Zaire or how Zaya, you know, that individual was more predominantly with her, and she picked up a lot of Gabrielle Union's personality type imprint. You could kind of see in the way that the individual behaves.
HD, you're awfully silent, bro.
No, me and Marcus was having an unmute war, and we was about to jump in at the same time. But nah, I mean, listen, like in some ways, having a kid is pretty selfish because you're willing to bring somebody into this world that they didn't ask to be here, right? And you know, sometimes we can try to like rationalize it and be like, you know, this is for, you know, the community, this is for future generations and stuff like that. But ultimately, when it was having kids back in the day, you know, it was to make sure that your legacy carried on. It wasn't necessarily the legacy of the entire benefit of the world. It was just like, I want my stuff to get passed on. So I don't think it's strange that this woman is doing this because, you know, like I said, some part of having children is selfish. But we turn it into, well, this person can't take care of themselves. They came from me, and they're the reason why I'm the reason why they're here. So they tend to like, you know what? I'm gonna make sure that this child has everything possible, you know, because they didn't ask to be here. I brought them here, so it's only right to take care of them. So it's just like it kind of makes sense, but you know, in essence, can be pretty selfish to have kids at times.
So the question was, so you guys are saying that so the question was the bus driver versus being a single mom, right? And I think that the issue is, and I mentioned this last night. I think that people think that relationship people just come together, right? And it should just work because that's what that's your availability. Okay. Now I agree that you should give all people a chance because you just never know, right? But do you think one versus the other one? Which one do you think? Do you think she should have just chose the bus? If you wanted a kid, have a kid with a bus driver, or do you think this was the better route? Go. Just answer that question, yes or no. Which one?
For her, considering she would have looked at the man as lesser than, which would have created problems inside the home that I think would have been detrimental to the health of the child. I believe for her, it's probably a better decision for her to go the insemination route. I mean, she's just not an agreeable woman, and men would tap in and move on. Like that's from what I understand of her history, that's kind of how it's been. So for her, yeah, insemination is probably better than any other situation she would have had. Marcus, we didn't hear you.
I say the bus driver.
Yeah, I agree with the bus driver because it takes two to tango. And oftentimes people think that because they got the resources, that's all you need to take care of a child. You know, your presence is pretty important. Just to seeing the imagery of man and woman, you know, is pretty powerful.
Facts. Yeah, I think I gotta agree with the fellas on this one. I think that's really setting the baby up for failure, especially if she's especially if she's not going to really be able to be present. Is going to be somebody else watching them. And in many cases now we see even parents that are around, YouTube is raising their kids, and look, that's not working out too well. So I think that it's just it's a lose-lose. It's a short-term win and long-term not so good of an idea.
I just want to real quick for you gentlemen, because I actually agree with you, but let's restate the situation. She's going to have a kid. Like, let's just say the option of not having a kid, which is what it should have been, is not even on the table. So she's going to have a kid, and the two options are for her to have a bus driver or someone of that ilk, a submissive man, or to go the artificial insemination route. So are you guys suggesting that because we already know what the likely outcome would be if she went with a submissive man, a sloppy divorce, arguing inside the household, complete and utter chaos for the kid? So are we suggesting that the kid should go she should go that route? Just because there is a father, even though that is going to be completely chaos? Or insemination is probably the best choice in that situation?
So what I'm basing it off of is the ability for that child to connect with the father. It's 50-50 as opposed to the possibility of 0, right? Because if him and the mom don't get along, the co-parenting relationship can be stronger than no parent relationship. I mean, it's not ideal. It's a hierarchy. It's both parents, or no, I'm gonna take it further. It's the extended family and village, including both parents. So that's a family that has mother, father, additional adult supervision, grandparents, additional parents. Then you got mother, father. Then under that you would have no parent, or no, one parent, right? So either a single dad or a single mom, one parent. Then under that you would have no parent. That's like the last rung of it.
So I have a am I echoing? Is it me? Okay. So my question to you guys is, if this is such an ideal situation, right? So we pick a person that obviously we're not compatible with, you just choose a person. Why isn't it working already? Because isn't that technically what people are doing? They're having kids with people they're not compatible with.
Yeah.
Is it working? I mean, not to say that would, because I don't know, but what I'm saying is that not what is taking place already?
I mean, that's definitely working. I think that the biggest factor is that people are, especially now, people are looking for people that's perfect, and that's not a thing. You look for who's compatible, who you can make it work with, who you agree with, or whatnot. You both have the same values, morals, so on and so forth, and you grow together. But now we got people that they'll just choose somebody because they got a fat ass or they make a lot of money or whatever the case may be. They don't click. One person is abusive or they both abusive, they're both toxic, whatever. And they end up not getting married and having kids out of wedlock, and then have a whole situation on their hands that they're not happy with. So I think the biggest issue is just that, again, most people, especially now, it appears that they're looking for somebody that's perfect when they're not even perfect themselves. So I think that's the biggest flaw.
Do y'all think people are really looking for perfection? And what is
Absolutely.
that? So what does compatibility look like? Because I can guarantee you, most of the relationships I've seen people in, these people are not perfect at all.
I
As
just
a matter
want to
of
say
fact,
hello,
if you
Tan and
have a
Mistaken.
single friend, you're probably looking at his girl like, and he probably, you know what I'm saying? So why do we think perfect? Like, are we saying like no arguments? Is that what we mean by perfect? Like it's gonna be a smooth ride? Is that what we mean by perfect?
No, there's no such thing as that either. You always gonna have seasons. It's gonna be ups and downs. It's choosing that person that you want to go through those seasons with. But a lot of people don't understand the level of commitment, and working through the hard times. That's what our great grandparents did. You know what I'm saying? They stuck it out. Of course, I'm not saying if a motherfucker going upside your head or cheating on you constantly to stick around, but if things get rocky and you ready to up and go because you're on social media and you got 10, 50,000 followers and you got niggas in your inbox, and now you think that you got options when it's from a pool that you don't even want nothing to deal with. So it's like one of those deals where you just got to make it work. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's perfect. Shit is going to happen. And if you just up and leave, then that causes more damage, especially if kids are involved. So
And I understand what you're saying, Viz, and I completely agree with you. But I think in this particular situation, it seems like she chose being single over being not being with somebody, right? So for the two panelists just came in, so there's a woman by the name of Ebony K. She's the one who said she wouldn't date a bus driver. I don't know if Tan, you probably don't know that, but she once stated she would never date a bus driver. So the question was, and she had she ended up getting pregnant artificially. And so the question was, so you rather have a baby artificially in opposed to dating the bus driver? So that was the question that somebody had in another chat. So we brought it up, and that's what we're talking about. That's the conversation, just to keep you guys up abreast. So what are your thoughts? Because I know Mistaken knows the situation. No thoughts?
You're asking about my thoughts?
Oh,
You're mistaken.
Mistaken.
Okay.
You know thoughts, Mistaken? No?
No, not really.
Okay. So do you think, so I guess the bottom line is, the question is, do you just choose anyone just for the sake of having a father, or do you just go the route of artificially having a kid? I guess that's the debate. That's the conversation. Y'all don't want to?
It's a loaded question. It's a
So
loaded question. It depends on the perspective. I don't know the situation, but I mean, was she talking about a specific bus driver, or is she talking about just a bus driver in general? She just
she
doesn't
didn't want to date a bus driver. She said she'd rather date somebody who owned the company in opposed to a bus driver.
got it. I mean, that's a specific situation. I think it's loaded. There's so many nuances. I'm coming on the tail end. I'll just, yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think I had made mention of this before yesterday, is that at the end of the day, if her end goal was to be a parent, and she wanted to have a kid, I don't think that she should give up that opportunity necessarily just because she may not have the right choice right now. That's not to say that later on she can meet somebody that meet her standards and would be willing to be a stepfather to her child. People become step parents every day. So if that was an issue for her, it's like, I'm just not going to settle for anybody. But if not settling for anybody means that I'm going to give up my opportunity to be a parent, I'm not willing to do that either. And so she chose what I feel that she felt was the best option for her, and still have time. Like, the thing is that there's a time limit on when you can become a parent for a female, but there's no time limit on when you can find the right partner. So I think she just kind of, rolled the dice and said, let me go with being a parent, and then give, because I don't have enough time, that window closes and I have more time to find the partner that's going to fit my situation. So I think that's what she ended up doing.
Is it possible that she could have just found somebody the same way she artificially inseminated, to have somebody be a surrogate and waited till she had a stable
We
home?
don't even know if that's what she did. I don't think I don't think she just said that the kid won't have a father. We don't know that she didn't, because she could have said, "Oh, and I'll keep you out of it." We don't know the details of that.
I'm if somebody, all right, like, that's the deepest speculation. We can't even go into the conversation if we working on the premise we just don't know on anything.
Well, because she didn't give out that information. She didn't say, because that happens all the time. People may say, "Okay, can I use your sperm and I'll keep you out of it?" Like, a rational part, that's probably the more logical way to go, because at least I know you're a sane person, right? And I won't, you can, because you could do like a contract where he can give up his rights. People do that all the time. So she doesn't clarify. She just said the kid won't have a father. She didn't say, "Okay, I went to a sperm bank and this is a guy I picked out of a book." So we can talk about both ways, but she didn't clarify that.
Well, let's say either way, even if it happened either way, whether she knew the person or didn't know the person, and she, chose from a, sperm bank based on, the qualifications that she was looking. Either way, we'll say that the father is not going to be involved. The biological father is not going to be involved.
Right.
I still think that child is in a better condition because she chose that situation versus being in a situation where you expected to be with the father and the father chose not to be a part of that situation. Because I think your mindset is going to be different. You're already going in with the expectations of knowing that you're going to have to create your own village. You're going to have to do things, you're pre-planning because you already know what your situation is going to be, versus being in a situation where you're thinking you might be with this person and then a person doesn't want to be involved in that situation and dips.
Quoting her, there will always be that voice that says, maybe I should have waited to meet a man and remarry before I had a baby. Maybe I should not try to do this alone. But fuck that, she says. I'm not waiting. I'm 40 years old. I'm not waiting to build assets. I'm not waiting to build my career. I'm not waiting to travel. And I'm certainly not waiting to start a family. I just refuse to wait one more day. That's where I'm at. Everything I want to do, I'm doing right now, and I'm excited. I feel as ready as I'm ever going to be.
Yeah, that sounds very positive. I mean, you're 40.
Yeah.
Like, and this is the thing about biological clocks, right? People take time for granted. It's people in their 30s who can't have kids because of whatever reason. I think that men not men, I think there's people, because women do take this for granted as well. They just think that they have all this time in the world, right? And just because somebody is able to get pregnant at 54 doesn't mean you're going to be able to get pregnant at 54. You know, and so I think that this is a situation, not to say I think she's, as far as society and kids being raised in 2-parent households, absolutely. We want that. That's the ideal situation. But in a situation where you want children and you're 40, you don't know what'll happen. It's people who have to have hysterectomies at 40. They can't even have kids because things happen. And so, and then you're saying, okay, and then we're in a culture of, this is the culture where people aren't even getting married anymore. It's like they're hooking up. Nobody's committing. People don't even believe in marriage. So what is a girl to do if she wants to have children? It's just like it's natural for men to want to have sex. It's natural for women to want to be mothers. So go ahead.
Go ahead and finish. Oh, so I definitely agree with that. Mistaken, you made a really good point with perspective on the situations, choosing a situation versus life throwing you, curveballs and encountering a situation, which we know as women. I'm sure everybody on this panel knows someone who knows someone or encountered it yourself, perhaps. But when you encounter a situation and life throws you a curveball, sometimes there comes depression with that. There comes sorrow, other emotions that aren't exactly positive. And to your point, choosing a situation where this is what I want. I'm going in the situation knowing this is the situation. I'm going to prepare to be the best mother that I can be and provide for my child the best that I can be. I do know someone who made that decision herself, and she appears to be doing a great job. Of course, as Shan Monet mentioned, the ideal situation is, of course, a 2-parent household, but that's just not the case. I have an aunt who has kids and she's adopted. I know someone else who doesn't have kids right now, and she just adopted a little girl, young little girl, 4 years old, I believe, just less than a month ago. And she appears to be just fine, right? She's, I think, 44 years old. Let's just be honest. She's not been 44 and just found a whole lot of people. She's never been married. And she just has not encountered, I guess, a situation where it's mutually beneficial and they married. So she decided to adopt. Is she any different than that person?
And let me just say this too, y'all. That beetle, I see the beetle, and I want to get it. Okay, give me 2 seconds though. Ask your. So I know we're looking at a different perspective of a kid. I don't know many kids, and I've taught a lot of kids. I've never heard a kid say, "I'd rather not been born," because my daddy wasn't involved. My daddy is not here. Now you will absolutely want to be like, "Dang, I wish I knew my history. I wish I knew, my dad." But it's never to the point where it's like, "Oh, I wish I've never been born because my daddy was not there." Like, I've never heard that ever in life.
I've heard kids say that about all type of things. You don't give me no ice cream, I hate you. I wish I wasn't born. So I don't know if I can side with you on that.
Yeah, these kids nowadays, they definitely say that.
What?
Yeah. I saw a TikTok of this one girl. It was a white chick. She was basically saying how they put some type of label on it, but basically how active she hated how active her parents were. They're at every soccer game, they're at every parent teacher conference, and she absolutely hated it. The whole video was about her complaining about it. So I mean, there's definitely a thing now, because a lot of people was in the comments agreeing with it.
Shan, would you approve if I went and got 300 women pregnant? Would you think that was a good idea?
No.
Why not?
It's tacky. You wouldn't be able to be a father to 300 people.
But fathers don't matter because they can just raise the people by themselves, like Ebony. Wouldn't that be the ideal thing? Because we set the precedent that it's okay to intentionally make single moms. Why men can't do that same thing?
Well, they do. Some of them.
And don't we admonish
Do
them
we?
the same way?
Do we?
If you intentionally are creating
Do
single
we
moms,
really?
yeah, we do. We do.
I think some of us do, but if we were hard knocked on it, then it wouldn't be happening.
I think most people do, and there's a large level of shame, similar to the level of shame she's receiving right now, with the added element because she intentionally did it. But if it's okay, if you guys want to set the precedent that moving forward, fathers don't matter, or they're optional, I think men would say opt us all out of child support. Let us impregnate whoever we want, and then y'all got it, just like Ebony K.
So this is the thing. I do think that fathers matter, but the problem is too many that have left the situation, and now people think that they don't matter. You understand? So when you leave people, it's kind of like you have a kid, right? And they fending for themselves, and you see more and more kids fending for themselves. They don't have parents. It's gonna start being like, oh well, I can do it because these kids. It's so many people who have done it. It becomes a new norm, right? It's not because it's right. It's just because people see people doing it all the time. We're not saying that what she's doing right. We're just saying, look at the entire situation. It's people doing this all the time. So okay, she marries the bus driver. Who's to say he stay? Y'all assuming all bus drivers are these stand-up guys. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying to you is we have a 70% of Black kids, right, are being born into single parenthood households. Men control marriage, women control sex.
What does that mean?
It's a choice, right? So if you want to be the head of your household and in your household and raising your kid, you have that choice because you control marriage. I've never met a woman who's had a kid, and it's very, if they do, it's very small percentage that did not want to marry that man at some point.
But so
during that pregnancy,
you just threw a stat out that was, you said 70% of Black children are born out of wedlock.
For sure.
And then you follow that up with men hold the keys for marriage and women hold the keys for sex.
Right. So what I'm saying to you is, but okay, let me add something else to that. Who holds the key to the sperm?
Come on now.
It's not an honest question.
Well, she paid for sperm. We believe.
Honest question.
No, that's fair. No, I agree 100%. You know, if you don't, I feel like in that case is definitely on both parties. But at the end of the day, just as you stated, women hold the keys to sex. Women also, in majority of the time, give the thumbs up for them to have unprotected sex. So, I mean, it's on both parties. But if the woman isn't looking for marriage and you have an unprotected sex, we learned early on.
How many women aren't looking for marriage?
I would think a few. I would think that.
Do you think it's the vast majority of women who are not looking for marriage?
I would think that Ebony is honestly not truly looking for marriage, because if everybody that understands that have been married at some point, marriage comes with sacrifice. It comes with what's the word?
Duty.
Yeah, duty. But when you damn, I got a brain fart. But you accepting that person for who it is. You adjust to the situations, to the relationship. You compromise, right? That's a part of marriage. So if she was truly looking for that, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier, everybody's not perfect. You're not going to meet a perfect person. But if you're out looking for marriage, if you want to be married, then you're going to find the most compatible person that'll fit that.
Why did we let the dude with the 7 baby mamas? Why did he get so much smoke? I feel like y'all should have been supporting that too.
You talking about Nick Cannon?
No, not Nick Cannon. The guy who said I got 7 women pregnant. I gave each one of the kids their own mom. Those kids gonna be good. I want absolutely nothing to do with those kids.
It's about choice. I think that's the difference. I think the difference
He
between
told
the
them.
situation and their situation, it was after the fact, though.
No, he told them beforehand that I was gonna be there.
Let me
She's
tell you the difference.
the situation of one planning financially because she has the money and the means to take care of the whatever child she decides to have. 2, she already knew, like, right now I'm not in a situation where I have the mate that I want or that I would ideally want in terms of a marriage, but I'm at a point in my life that my biological clock is ticking for having a kid. So I have, I'm on borrowed time, right? So I'm making that decision to move forward because this is a goal of mine that I know I want to be a parent. Versus the other situations is I don't think in those situations those women were prepared or made proper necessary situations in order to be able to take care of a child. He gets them pregnant and then say, I don't want to be a part of it. Those are 2 different situations.
Go ahead, Enoch.
Oh, sorry, the technical difficulties. I feel like that's like in Ebony K. Williams's specific situation. It seems like a cop out, right? From her saying, the men that I want this type of woman, and I'm refusing to be that woman, but I still want that man. She's pigeonholed herself and created a scenario where she believes that she doesn't have any other option. She has another option, and that is to be the type of woman that man wants. But instead, she's decided, I'm going to bypass the whole situation and create a child with the DNA of the type of man that I want, opting out of the relationship, which totally negates what that man brings into not only the relationship, but as a father. I feel like she set herself up to take this out. And sure, that child will be taken care of financially. That child will probably not go without needing for anything except a father. Right? No money can replace a parent. And we see it, we alluded to it earlier about like the children in Hollywood. They struggle with 2-parent households. The ones from a single parent household, they wind up in the tabloids every week, right? And for her to set herself up in a scenario like that, and I'm not trying to attack her character, but it would make me question the type of decision she would make as a mother if she's going to pigeon herself into that situation, then tell us that this is the only choice that she had. How is she going to navigate parenting that child in that particular circumstance?
I think that this is a situation where you're going to have people on opposite sides of the fence. You're going to have those people who were raised this way. Maybe they had one parent, so they'll be like, oh, I turned out okay. You're going to have people who have 2 parents and like, how is that even possible? And so it's almost like it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that if we go by what is ideal, we would be doing a whole lot of things differently. There's nothing. Her situation is just one situation, but all of us are moving in a situation that's not ideal. You understand what I'm saying? So to me, there's a bigger issue here. There's a bigger issue here.
I think a big part of that issue though is just to imagine the following that she has and the people and the women.
You're echoing. What did you say? And then Marcus, you can go next, okay?
No, I was gonna say I think the biggest issue is her following the people that look up to her, the women, taking on this same mindset. You know, we already see a collapse in that sense of Black relationships and healthy families. If they see somebody else do it, then they're gonna follow along, and we just gonna continue to create more scenarios like this, where people, women and men, in many cases, just like Inez said, it's a
No.
cop out. Inez, my bad.
E.
Nas.
Inez, my bad, my bad.
It's okay. And Marcus,
So I was gonna say that.
gotta write it
Oh,
down.
when you were talking about the two types of parents, right? You got two parent homes and you got single parent homes. Was anybody on the panel raised with one parent in the house? Me as well. Okay.
Well,
Did you
at a certain age, my mom and dad got divorced when I was like 11.
did you have a yearning for your other parent that was almost as strong as your life, and it might have caused severe harm that you're working through as an adult?
But you know what? Honestly, it could be because look at it this way. Maybe that's a yearning that boys have for their dads. And maybe if my mom weren't there, I'd be like, you understand? Because maybe that's what that is. Because my dad left.
If I ever see anybody, look, y'all drafted me into the gender war because y'all have drafted me into the gender war because I just can't believe that y'all could support this. I really can't.
No, we don't. Okay, so
I really
no. What we're
Yeah,
saying
I don't
is,
think they necessarily support it. It's just
yeah,
one of those deals
it's
where in this circumstance, uh,
what is a woman to do?
regardless if she's making a cop out or not, the fact that she wants to do it, she has the means to do it. You know, I get it, but ideally, I don't think that it's a smart decision.
Let me ask you a question, Marcus. You have daughters, right? Let's just say the trend keeps going the way it is, and your kids never have, they never get married. Okay. And your daughter so badly wants a child, but she just she's in relationships, they're just not ending in marriage. What do you see? Do you think that she should go without having her own children?
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I also, and I think I had said this before. I think, and we've talked about this before too, Marcus, is about raising a family is also based on having a village. So that village can be intergenerational, where you have the grandparents involved and all of those things. I know plenty of people who dads weren't involved, but the grandfathers were the fathers. They stepped in as the role model for and raised my friends or what have you. So I think this is just me, and it may or may not be the case. I definitely think that in her situation, she may have a village. So even though she may not have a biological father, that if she has a village that helps her with the child, then the child ultimately should be okay. I just speaking from a perspective too of not saying like, oh well, all women should go out if they want a kid, just go ahead and have babies. I'm just talking about her specific situation, because I don't think vast majority of women are in her situation in terms of being able to provide financially, especially in our community. A lot of our babies are not planned, they're oopsie babies. And a lot of times it may work out, it may not. But I'll say, just in my understanding of knowing, is that a lot of the times we're not planning for kids. The kids just happen, right? Um, So ideally, I'm not going to say, oh, I agree that, oh, most women should go ahead and have kids, and raise. The ideal situation is to have both parents that are healthy parents that can parent together and, be in a married situation. The next best situation is to, even if y'all are not together, to have a healthy co-parenting situation, right? But when those situations don't work out, the next best situation is to have a healthy parent that has a village that can help support and pour into that child. So I think that if she's able to have that village and create a village to help pour into the child is going to be okay.
I have a question for Marcus real fast. Oh, I'm sorry, AP. Give me, I don't want to go off subject. So you go ahead and then I have a question for Marcus.
Okay, I just want to address a couple of points. To Miss Taken's point, I don't think this lady is impulsive. I think she thought through it, and I really think that she's probably going to give the child the best life she possibly can. To the gentleman, this hag is not ever going to change, ever. So to expect her to behave the way she said that she doesn't want to, I just don't think she's capable of it. And it is for that reason, I think that she made the best decision for herself. And I don't think she made it lightly. I really don't. I think she really thought through all of the possible scenarios. In regards to stepdad, if we understand she's not really ever going to change, the likelihood of her getting a man, the kind of man that she wants, has failed her so far her entire life. Thus, getting a submissive man isn't going to work for her. She's basically going to be parenting this child alone for the rest of her life. That is just my opinion of the personality type I think that Ebony K is. But again, I don't think she's actually going to give the child a bad life. And I don't think that she's necessarily going to be the worst parent. And the fact that the child is not going to ever have to worry about the family dynamics inside the home, with fighting with a weak man or having to deal with the chaos of a broken home. I think if she explains the entire scenario to the child when it gets of age, I think she'll be all right. I really do, because if she wants a kid, my personal take is she should never have a kid. I just think I agree with you, Marcus. She's selfish, but she's not the kind of woman that's going to go without. Like she's wanted a kid, and I believe she's actually stated that in the past. But she wanted it with a very specific kind of man, and the kind of man that she wants to have it with is not going to have her as a wife. So she did I think, the best thing, and I think her child is going to be better off than 70% of these other kids that are running around without dads that actually got to enjoy the pleasure of it. So if I'm stuck with, does she have a kid with a broken home, or does she have a kid through the artificial insemination, I'm glad she chose this route, because she has the resources to take care of that child, and we don't have to worry about that child ending up under state care that we end up ultimately paying for. So I think she made a pretty solid decision.
So I have a question. And it's for everybody, and we're gonna do it quickly, not a long monologue, okay? Because I have a series of questions. Marcus, you stated that it's a very selfish situation for a woman to be artificially have a kid, correct? Correct. Is that correct?
Without a father,
Without a
intentionally.
father. Is it equally as selfish for a man to not commit to his household once he's gotten a woman pregnant?
Yes.
AP?
100% agree with Marcus.
Viz? HD?
Yes.
So we all agree that is almost the same thing. If you get a woman pregnant, you should probably marry her.
You should be in the household with the child.
Yeah, I think you if you having unprotected sex with somebody, marriage should be on the table, in my opinion. But
And
that's
yeah,
unrealistic nowadays
but I agree with
Why
you,
is it
Wiz.
unrealistic?
because y'all make it unrealistic.
How?
There's nobody to enforce that. Back in the day, you had enforcers to ensure that you married the woman that you got pregnant. Now the fathers are not there, so there's nobody to enforce that.
You know,
I think that's like the very point we're talking about, is that she's having a child with no enforcer in the household. Right?
oh,
Like,
absolutely, I agree. But I'm saying
she's
they're the same
perpetuating
thing. Are they not the same thing though? Like, for example, my whole point is, and all of everybody answered it this way. I'm not, but just for clarity, you can't say a person is being selfish and one and we're not going to be selfish. It has to be all around, not selfish, right? You have a kid, you have a family. Now you got to man up. Back in the day, it's like, okay, you man up. You used to be the dad, like, look, you got my girl pregnant. You about to get married. You know what I'm saying? You about to take care of this kid. You about to man up and take care of your household. That's the way it used to be. But nowadays, this is not the situation. We have women who are artificially impregnating themselves, and we have people who have an option to not be in the household with their kids. That's just the new norm. It's not right, but it's definitely the new norm. Go ahead.
I got a yes or no question for the panel.
Okay.
Is parental alienation child abuse?
Yes.
Without question.
So how is her intentionally parentally alienating the child, not child abuse? I look at this
because
like child abuse.
I think it's different. Okay, so this is because I wanted to answer this before. This is a different situation. You gave a scenario about a man impregnating other women, but giving them the responsibility. She impregnated herself and she's taking on the responsibility. That's the difference between the two. So if you got yourself in trouble and you're taking on the responsibility, knowing that it's going to be hard on you, that's on you. Unfortunately, the kid, yes, does suffer in the situation. Now, if you're going out, putting other people, making them responsible. Now, this man got 300 kids and he's taking care of the kids. That's him taking responsibility for something he created, which it will be the same as her. But I'm not giving the responsibility to somebody else. Like parent alien, that's me alienating. Like I'm not dealing with that kid, right? She's not doing that.
So I think that I think this
not
is
to say I agree with it. I'm just saying if that's what you're
register as abuse to y'all.
So Marcus, I think that you are thinking that we're saying we all agree that this is not the best way to go. I'm not in her comments saying, "Oh, crazy! She got a baby out of what?" Like I'm a single parent. I ain't no,
I think what Marcus is saying, the destructive point of it is that there are a lot of women that aren't in their 40s. They're in their 20s. They're 19, 18, where they already have it set up in their mind that they'll never find a good man. They'll never become a wife because they don't want to submit or whatever other word is triggered by them to a man to become their wife and a husband for him. I think that's the dangerous part about it. It is setting up future generations. It is blurring that line and normalizing something that we're all speaking against. You know what I'm saying? So at some point it's going to become the norm and will be even further in the shitter.
So you think that more women don't want to be married over men? You think that women, young girls in their mind don't want to be married?
If you pay attention to if we pay attention to what is going on in social media,
no, real life, not social media, real life.
I know a lot of people like to use that social media isn't real life, but the fact is that it is real life. If it wasn't real life, then people would be in relationships, in healthy relationships. There wouldn't be 70% of children being born out of wedlock.
That's commitment.
these narratives are being pushed on social media, and it's expanding. So it's the group think. You see one person that you follow, and now because they say it, this is what they believe and they see, then that's what everybody else now takes on and perceive it to be. So that's
So on social media, have you ever seen a trend? My man, thank you for my man. So you're telling me that most women don't want a man. Most women don't want a commitment. Most women don't want marriage.
I'm saying that most women do not want to submit. Most women don't want to um, uh, be adaptable in those situations. I mean, she even said it herself that what men want is something that she's not willing to do to change.
That's
So
her. I'm talking about women. Like we're speaking at this point, we're speaking about most women, right? I would have to disagree. I think that women want commitment. I don't know many, and there are a few. I don't know many women who don't want to be in a relationship with the man that they're sleeping with. I don't know many women who don't want to, it's like we were just it's just how we're made. We all want to now doing the things to get married is totally different.
that's part of it though.
Damn it, Viz, you got me agreeing with Shan.
But even that, but even that is a haze because a lot of women aren't doing the things they need to be married, and those are the ones who are married. So it's like the women who
are they going to remain married? Are they going to remain married though? That's the question. Like, are they going to remain married?
But it is. So what I'm saying to you is that what men want in a marriage is everybody on here is probably gonna want something totally different from their woman, right? There are things that you may have in common that you may like, but everybody is gonna be, you might not date AP's wife, you may not date Mark. Everybody may have a different idea of what's in there. But my point is, most women do want to be married. I can guarantee. If they tell you they don't, use it because they're hurt, bitter, or they've been done wrong so many times. They're like, got that mentality. Is this wrong, ladies? Am I,
No, I believe you. I agree with that. But the problem is that women are going online and saying that they don't want to get married. They don't want to conform. They want to remain who it is that they are and not do the work to become a wife. And the same for men. You know what I'm saying? It's the same deal. People aren't seeking the knowledge that they need to be aware of and have in order to have a successful relationship, to become a wife, to become a husband.
Anybody else want to?
I'm just gonna
on
say,
the child. Oh, you got it.
No, it will take just a second. Viz, Marcus, HD, Shan chose violence tonight. So y'all better be on y'all A game,
I
bro.
choose honesty. Like I like honest situation. Like I mean, that's just the honest situation. Now I do agree with Viz when he says that women are not doing what they need to do. They're not listening to men, which they never really have in the past. And they're not doing what it is that men say that they want. We can agree to that. But the notion that women don't want to be married, I don't agree with that at all. I think that men may not want to be married.
No, I think men want to be married, actually.
You say no, so let me just say, let me correct. I do think a lot of men do want to be married, but I think that their hesitancy, it takes a minute to get there, basically.
I got another yes or no question.
Okay.
If you put your needs above your child's needs, are you a good parent? Yes or no?
That depends on the situation.
Yeah, it depends on the situation.
Yeah. So if you have a prioritization of needs in life, or wants rather, if you put your wants ahead of the child's needs, are you a good parent?
What do you consider in a child's needs? Like, is the basic essentials of that they need for life and development? Or
well, they needed sperm, so I'm gonna assume biologically they needed a man. if you're intentionally not having a, like, all right, so she put that child in the same list as travel, starting a business, and have a child. It sounded like she was checking off an Instagram checklist. Like, it just bothers me to my core. Like, I don't know, I care about kids too much. Like, I care. I want to.
Is that any different than someone saying, I want to grow up, get married, get married, buy a house, have children? Do you put, I mean, because that's essentially kind of a checklist, a life checklist. Is that the same to you, or is that different?
If you add into that, I want to grow up, you said get married, right?
The American kind of standard, yeah.
Right,
Grow
that's
up,
the
get
progression.
married, have a house, have children. So
Right,
that's a list.
That's a natural progression where you're not. So that list, to equate it to the list that she's created, would be grow up, start a business, travel, intentionally remove the other parent from my child. That's what she's doing.
Can I ask you a question? What about
Marcus? I don't think she. Honestly, I'm gonna be. I don't think
Does
she
the child
did
have
that.
a father? Does the child have a father?
Well, give me a second. I don't think she did that. I think that her intention early on was to get married, but it's unfortunate for her that the person that she is, men don't want to marry that shit. Like let's keep it a buck. We don't want no. Are we kidding? Like, it's one thing to be
why would
driven.
you even do that to a man?
Like,
how would you do that to a child?
For her,
let me ask you a question. Oh, go ahead, AP. I'm sorry.
No, I don't think that she's necessarily doing. I think she's doing a disservice to the child, yes. And I think that 2-parent households are the best way to go, yes. But as a person with means and resources, I don't see what she's doing any different than what Nick Cannon is doing. Basically, using her money and resources to, well, we don't know what kind of parent she's going to be, but having the ability to use the money and resources to substitute being the actual parent. I don't honestly see that big of a difference. Now, do I agree with anything Nick Cannon has done in the way he's lived his life? No. But the major difference between men and women, this is where my argument is. The major difference between men and women is that we hold men accountable. For his entire adult life, Nick Cannon has gotten roasted for these decisions. Now, if we say this about this woman, then typically women start. Oh my God, I'm about to say it. Women will have this sisterhood conversation about, men are always beating us up. No, bitch, we're gonna hold you accountable.
So you're saying single moms don't have it bad today? You saying that people don't roast single moms?
No, I think that what most of the time what people don't do is roast a single mom on an individual basis. Like, for example, there would be no way that I would be able to actually live it down if I said, hey, Shan, you made terrible fucking decision being a single mom. There's no way we would be able to truly get through that unless we have money and resources to kind of fight through it. However, we've seen men taken down for less. On the other hand, we can beat up every man on the planet for making a mother a single mother. Like, y'all, there's no accountability for women. Like we can be honest about that part of the conversation.
Real fast. Let's do the equivalent, okay? Let's take a man. So women's biological, they want to be moms. Men's biological, they want to have sex. If a man cannot find a woman to, so let's just say sex before marriage, right? Because we're going to do order. You want a man before you have a kid. You should be having a wife before you have sex. Is it fair to tell a man that he should not have sex before marriage? Because that's the right way to do it.
Yes, it's fair to tell a man to not have sex before
he gets
married. Well, that's my message. That's what I preach to all young men.
Yeah, I mean,
okay. Can I go after Anaz, because Anaz been waiting for
I'm sorry, Anaz, if I cut you off. I'm so sorry.
No, you didn't cut me off. I forgot my point, so go ahead, HC.
It's ridiculous to think that the world wasn't created in a specific way. You cannot have a child unless the situation of an egg and a sperm gets together.
Correct.
You can't have it. It's ridiculous to think that just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should do it. And if your goal is to do something, there are just some goals you're just not going to be able to reach. And sometimes when you try to do these things in your own power, you find out that it has disastrous results. And I just think that unfortunately, I don't know how smart this woman is, but I guarantee you she probably make a lot of money. She might got degrees, she might got a lot of education, but this is the thing that I see many times that us people in general do. Sometimes you can be so smart that you're stupid, that it makes no viable sense to literally see all of these relationships and see all of these kids and see all these situations where people are trying to talk emotional intelligence, they're trying to talk, health and therapy and all this stuff, right? All these things that sound really good, right? And then you think that with all your infinite wisdom, you know what? I'm just going to have a kid by myself, when you already know having a kid with two people is hard as hell. And then you're going to choose to have a child by yourself, even if you got money. I mean, it's just like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And I agree with you, Shan. Women, in essence, the idea of marriage is what women want, right? But it's just like a fat person that doesn't want to lose weight, who wants to lose weight. There's a difference between a person who's going to actually do the work to actually make things happen versus a person say, "Oh, I just want this thing." So then they get like a weight loss surgery or something like that. And you have created a shortcut that actually lessens your benefit of the thing that you really want. Because if you have a child with a guy, it may or may not work out. But if it actually does work out, it's going to be fantastic. You have a child by yourself, right? It's designed for two people to create a child, but you just said, you know what, bump it. I'm gonna go this route. I'm gonna get inseminated. And I'm gonna go do this, and then I'm just gonna take care of the child because it's almost like going to the store and buying a pet. I can do this just because I got the money to do it, not realizing that you're creating more than what you think. And I just think that this is the kind of stuff that gets like a lot of people jacked up. You see a whole bunch of stuff online, and everybody got a mic to say whatever they want to say. And then when you look at this trend that happens 10, 20 years down the line, and all the women are like, well, shoot, she did it, I'm gonna do it too. And then all the men is just like, well, what am I supposed to do? All the women want to follow all the women, and all the men want to follow all the men, and we got the problems that we got. It just doesn't make any viable sense with all of this education, all of this money, all of this resources to think that this was a wise decision.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
How did y'all?
Oh, thanks. So I'm glad you went HG because that brought back my point. With somebody like Ebony, whether we want to acknowledge it or not, she's somebody who has influence, right? When she made the whole bus driver statement, the internet was in an uproar. We heard a lot of the men in opposition, but in the comments, there was always women defending it, right? She has the ability to set that trend and set that example for other people, not just people in her age bracket, but the following generation. So whether we like it or not, there is some level of responsibility in the message that you sent, because there are people who are still too easily influenced, whether it's by age or maturity, that are going to follow her lead. It used to be that your consequence for not adapting and doing things the right way was that you were stuck alone, that you were childless without a husband. And now she's managed to skirt that consequence because she has the money to. I think that I don't wish ill on her child. I hope that child grows up happy, healthy, whole, and lacking for nothing, and doesn't go through some of the feelings that some people go through when there isn't a two-parent household. But we risk yet another generation taking it that much farther. Like, it's we're passing the baton to go further in the wrong direction with what she's promoting.
So, I had the, and this is bringing it back to, a lot of things that are going on, and it goes into the conversation that we had yesterday about the way we're moving, especially, African Americans. Okay. I had the honor of going to the Whitney Plantation last weekend. As y'all know, I have like a thing for museums. And some of the things that I saw that I think I remember seeing was, they had these guys come in. His goal was to impregnate as many people as possible, many women as possible, because that would be more kids growing up into the plantation, right? And this happened quite often. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard stories of this way. Do you think that that's just a treat? Like it just keeps, and so this whole marriage thing, do you think that because of some of the things that have happened in the past, like we have this, so what I'm saying is, how we talked about how we show like the ratchet America, the subculture is ratchet, and before we would not show that, we would show more of, I don't want to say bougie black, but you know what I'm saying? And we have this false idea, because I think it was a show. I don't know if you guys were on this show, because I've had so many critiques. There was a show, and it was a documentary I saw. And then it was talking about how you had different types of black, and one set didn't like the other set, and they were always there, but they came together for civil rights. Do y'all remember that show? And so it's almost like it was always there, that you always had people who did these things. It's just we did not show it. We didn't advertise it. It wasn't a new phenomenon. It's always been there. It just wasn't promoted or shown. I see what Inaz is saying. When you have a person who people look up to, who is a representative, but that's kind of like how everything is going right now. Would y'all not agree? Like everything is moving towards more like
it's a free for all. That's really what it is. We're experiencing a full blown free for all.
So which is right? Like, of course we know what's right. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's just, how can I say this? It's a mentality, and nobody can agree on what's right and what's wrong. Because like we were talking about yesterday, the music, people just don't want to let it go, right? They're like, I don't care if she twerking. And you have some people like, they need to get rid of that. There's so many people when the lines of what's right and wrong have been blurred, right? And nobody can agree on what's right and what's wrong. Because you're going to always have those people like, well, she should be able to show her, she should be able to twerk. It's a free country. I should be able to say what I want to say. Do you have people like, but no, you should watch things that are coming out of your mouth. It's like we're competing. It's like it's just all over the place. I just feel like we're just some confused people, and we cannot agree on anything, even when it's just right from wrong. We can't agree.
Do y'all think if somebody is holding a baby and drops it on the ground accidentally, that person's child should be taken away from them? They accidentally dropped the baby?
No.
Okay, what if they're intentionally dropping the baby? Should you take the child away from them?
Yes.
Okay, so we agree that abuse, that person should not be able to.
So you're suggesting that ejaculating in a woman is an accident? I don't think that that's the truth.
No, I'm suggesting that there's a difference between accidentally having a single parent home versus intentionally having a single parent.
I see what you're saying.
So can I ask a question? Do you think a woman, and I don't know Ebony's situation, loosely the story with what you guys said, but her age, I think you said she was 40, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someone said she was 40. A woman who's 40 and you adopt. Is there something wrong with the woman who's not married? She's 40 and she adopts a child. And if not,
so not at all, because one, there's a need that exists and she's helping fulfill that need. That child exists already. So a parent in their life can be beneficial. It's a single parent. They're already awarded the state. I created the hierarchy earlier with 0 parents, being the very worst scenario, and having a intergenerational family being the highest level scenario.
But
So
do you think she's being selfish? She's not married. She's
again,
adopting, and she's intentionally making the decision to adopt a child. Of course, it's fulfilling a need for sure, but she's not married, and she's intentionally making that decision to hopefully raise that child that she adopts to be, being the best mother or parent she can be. But obviously, there's an option maybe in the future of marriage and creating a union and a father for that child. But at that moment, there is no father.
so per your example, we went from 0 parent to 1 parent. They moved up the rung of the hierarchy of what's best for a child. To intentionally say, I'm gonna go as low as I possibly can go, is completely different than that, Tan. That's completely different. If
So
you
would
adopt a
you?
child, yeah, if someone adopts a child, they're doing a service that is needed and they're being beneficial to the child. If someone creates a child that has no other parent, they're intentionally, that's like abuse.
So is that the same thing as having unprotected sex and you don't want no kids?
That is very extreme recklessness. And I would advise people not to be busting in people and like
Because at
just
this point, you're making a conscious decision. I think we're all adults now. We know that coming in the chick may lead to pregnancy. Okay, especially when you do it often. So,
Shit,
do they get a
even if you
pass?
don't come in and
Do they
you
get a
have an
pass?
unprotected sex.
oh, they're wrong and they need to be a parent. So I think where I'm losing it is this. I view things as man, so God, man, wife, child. The person above protects the other people. I expect women to protect children. I expect men to protect women, and I expect God to protect us all. What it seemed to me like is the women who are agreeing are pretty much like, well, you know, it's abuse, but it ain't technically abuse, so we cool with it. That's what I'm hearing. Maybe that's the disconnect.
No, I think that what you're hearing is just like so we know it's not right. It's almost like you sitting here saying, no, you shouldn't be busting a woman before you marry, but you did it. You know what I'm saying? We know that it's wrong, but it ain't gonna stop you from doing it. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of understand, like, dang, that is hard because you kind of empathize with the man, like, dang, you ain't had sex. You know what I'm saying? In your head, you know the right answer is you should not be having sex before marriage. We don't take that away. You understand that, but you also understand a man's needs. So as women, it's almost the same thing. We're saying, no, that ain't an ideal situation. Nobody should want to be a single mom. But at the end of the day, we do understand that you want to be a mom, and it's a sucky situation. It's like so you can understand that it is absolutely wrong and still empathize with you can and say, okay, I can understand, like, that's a horrible dilemma you got going on there. You understand?
So let me. So when I was talking about it, the way so when a person makes an individual decision that affects their life negatively, it's wrong, but that is on them. When you do something that affects somebody else's life negatively, it's uber wrong, and we need to talk as much as we can against it. A parallel to this would be men want sex, women want babies, right? Could we agree? Men wants, per your example you just used,
I say men want sex, women want commitment.
Okay, so a man that wants sex, what if he decided to do what was necessary to make sure he got sex, whatever that was?
Then that's wrong. They do it all the time. Absolutely, that's
Say that
wrong.
again. Say that again.
We talk about that's exact scenario. We talk about it all the time. And what are some of the things? Well, she should know better. I mean, how long, you can't see the red flags. She should be, what I'm saying? Like you don't know what a man playing. You should ask the right questions. Like, it's always putting it back on the other person.
I was saying the equivalent to having a child that intentionally harms someone else outside of your own specific decision making is similar to a man harming a woman or whoever else he's trying to have sex with to fulfill that need that he has.
I agree.
I think it's an extreme verbiage to use abuse. Again, I can't speak specifically to Ebony's situation because I'm not as knowledgeable about the entire situation, just what you guys have said. But what I am going by is, if a woman is, call it 40, and she's not gotten married for whatever reason, relationships have not worked out, have not turned into marriage, and she chooses to adopt, or she chooses to have a child by artificial insemination, I don't think the correct verbiage would, I think it's an extreme verbiage, let me say that, to call it abuse. I think there are words that can describe it, maybe selfish, but abuse, I think that is, that's a bit extreme, in my opinion. I do agree with the comment earlier. When you have an audience, you should be very careful in what you encourage, knowing that you have the ability to influence others. I think you can, some of the comments that you make can be reckless, and if you know that you have the ability to influence other people. I think that maybe is the situation with this, because of her stature, her situation, her social media status. Again, I don't know her, but that's what it sounds like. But across the board, the average person, female, doesn't have that kind of influence and stature and ability to influence people. So for me, in generalities, to call it across the board, a woman who turns 40, her relationship status hasn't worked out, she hasn't been married, she wants to have a baby, and to say she gets artificial insemination, that's abuse, I think that's a bit extreme.
Okay, so one, I think you have to separate adoption and bringing a child into the world. Those are two completely different things. Completely different. One is you're choosing to. They're both completely different. And the reason I'm drawing a line to abuse is this: we all agree that parental alienation is abuse of the child, right?
Mm-hmm.
The intentional removal of the other parent constitutes abuse. Then I ask the question: if you drop a child on purpose, is that abuse versus accidentally dropping a child? I think the lines, so if you bring a child into this life with no other parent intentionally, that's how I'm drawing the abuse line.
So I actually agree with Tan because it's really difficult to call it abuse. Because from your standpoint, yes, you see it as abuse. From somebody else's, it is, they're not really abusing anyone, but we know the outcomes. Now, with that being said, it goes back to how your moral compass points. And Marcus, in my opinion, you have one of the most true north compasses, black and white, of anybody I've ever met. And you're pretty consistent on it. So with that being said, there's that gray area where I don't think that it's the way you define it. I don't define it that way. The same as I don't think Tan does. None of us here have agreed that what she did was what she's doing is the right course of action. I think we would all agree that it's probably not the best course of action, especially for the child, nor do I personally condone it under any circumstance. I believe adoption is the way to go. However, if you have the means and the ability to choose the DNA, to choose how the child is going to be centered as a person, would you take that option over something random? Maybe a drug addict's baby, maybe two violent people's baby. And that's what she chose. She chose that, hey, I get to pick the way the DNA flows, and that was her decision. I can't call that abuse, nor could I call adoption abuse by a single parent. I mean, by a single person. I just don't. I don't see it the way you see it, but I do agree it's not ideal for anybody to be a single parent.
And we're
So
gonna so after you finish AP, we're gonna go to Enos, then Marcus, and then we're gonna.
Oh, I'm done. Go ahead, Marcus or Enos.
Sorry, I'm really struggling with tech tonight. So AP, I want to say back the words that you used, and maybe that'll help you understand more where the lines of abuse kind of come in. You said, and not verbatim, I'm paraphrasing, but she made a choice knowing what the likelihood outcome was going to be. So if you're knowingly gambling where the odds are stacked against you, would that not be considered abuse? Like, you're aware of what the statistics are, you're aware of what the outcome is. Sure, you can offset it, but there's still a very high likelihood that it will not be in favor, and you're still making that decision. Would that not be considered abuse?
No, if I personally had the means and resources that she has, and I didn't think that I would be disadvantaging the child, and as which I don't think she actually believes she's disadvantaging the child, I don't think that that's abuse.
So I want to take the money out of it because those statistics don't factor in tax brackets or income or wealth, right?
It's difficult to do that though, because we understand, like we're talking about a lady with a law degree as well as a degree in journalism. I mean, and a high profile ish. I mean, she's an influencer. We can't take the money out of it because she's probably. I'm assuming the kind of person that she is. She's put the money into the equation, so it's hard to remove it. And
So
if I have that, then my mindset would be: there's no way I would disadvantage this child. I understand. I think, but go
So I
ahead. I'm
understand
sorry.
what you're saying. I think maybe I could explain a little bit differently.
Mhm.
The statistics of the children that come out of single parent households, income is not factored into those statistics. So we can't actually prove that having money is actually able to offset that and set that child up for better success. And we see that when we look at other celebrities who are single parents and what their children turn out like. Some of them turn out great, and some of them turn out like public wrecks, right? And so that's why I'm saying take the money out, because that isn't actually a factor in how that child turns out statistically, right?
Yeah.
Personal circumstances are different, but statistically, money does not offset the outcome.
But mindset does, and I think that uh, um, in order for me to truly classify it as abuse from the standpoint of impregnation, um, it, we have to look at the mindset of the person, and I think that if I'm bringing a child into the world with every knowing I can give the child whatever they need and take care of all of their wants, there's no way that I would see that as abuse. So I'm going to assume that she doesn't. And if she doesn't, then I can't call it abuse. Like, I understand from outside looking in, my personal perspective is she's highly selfish, and I don't think anybody should be able to truly artificial inseminate unless they're married and they can't have kids the natural way. That's the only way I think it should be used. But that's just my personal opinion. But understanding that she is looking at it from a selfish lens, looking at it from a lens as this is everything that I can do for this kid. And if you're looking at it from a positive perspective, saying, yo, this is my child is going to have the best life. I'm going to be able to provide X, Y, and Z. Is going to be super dope for this child. I can't call that abuse, and I
So
understand that perspective.
one last question and then I'm done. The parents who say you're getting this whooping for your own benefit, is that still not a mindset with the best outcome in mind and still inflicting abuse?
I don't necessarily think that spankings are abuse. I think they become abuse when you are spanking a child for a selfish reason,
Yeah.
i.e.,
Or out of spite.
I as a parent, I feel like this is your action is disrespectful, or I feel ashamed But if you can explain to a child, walk them through what they did wrong, and this is the why, and help them understand the why they're actually getting a spanking, and it's not from an emotional state, then I don't consider the spanking itself abuse, unless you know, like the video that was posted in the group chat the other day. I think that was way too far. That in my opinion was abuse.
For sure.
Okay, so let me just ask this question.
Okay.
Can abuse occur without physical contact?
Of course.
Yes, absolutely.
Emotional abuse can exist, right?
It has to happen first, but yes.
If you intentionally rob this child of a parent, how is that not emotional abuse?
From I understand the lens you're looking at it, and I can agree from that point of view. But if I don't see it as the kid being robbed of anything, if I don't see it as the kid being robbed of anything, is the kid really being robbed of anything? And if that's the case, then why don't we have a law that actually prevents this case from happening? Like, I understand what you're saying. I truly do.
Yeah.
But from that perspective, she doesn't think that she's robbing the kid of anything. I really believe she thinks
basically
that.
what he's saying is, we see that in her mind. We're trying to so he's just trying to put himself in her situation and saying that he feels that she doesn't think she's doing anything wrong. We may see her as doing something wrong, but in her mind, she is not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Her words were, "Fuck that, I'm not waiting. I travel when I want." She is not factoring in. Like, I care about kids.
Okay. We're gonna, this is gonna keep going. You're gonna have an opportunity. I promise you, it's gonna all blend in. Okay. So let's do these
all seeing eye with the phone 99. We got to stop with the majority of men that are absent are deadbeats. Agreed. Myron Scott with the 10 ball. We appreciate you, Myron. We used to have the same values, but those were religious values. Everyone wants to do their own thing here, is the freedom women fought for.
You know, let's go back. This is interesting, right? We can say, I don't think that most men who are not active fathers are deadbeats, but we will say that, so if we're going to hold her accountable, we got to also hold them accountable, right?
We always hold men accountable.
So he should have married her, right? Is that what we're saying?
My opinion, yes. He should have.
You said
the man. She's saying the man should have married her if we're gonna hold him accountable. Yes, we've already stated, I think, as collectively, that a man should
both
get married.
sides.
Yeah.
It's on both sides.
But oftentimes I'd argue that women don't even make that a possibility.
To marriage?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
Oh wow.
Ebony said it in the beginning of this.
Ebony. So y'all, Ebony is one person. We're talking about y'all take one person and be like, oh, I'm gonna tell you now. If a woman's let me just say this. Let me just tell you the psyche of a woman. Let me tell you the psyche of a woman. And men, listen up. If you're having unprotected sex with a woman right now, listen up, okay? One, a woman's not gonna open her legs to you unless she likes you, first and foremost, okay? And then she sure as hell.
That is a damn lie, Shane.
Listen,
come on now.
So you're saying, listen, most of the same women, majority of women are not going to have sex with you unless they like you, okay? Number two, she ain't about to push it. She can lie all she wants to. She's not going to push your kid out unless she likes you, all right?
That's not true, too. I hear what you're saying.
There may be things that happen in your relationship afterwards that makes her hate you, but I'm talking about in the moment of having your kid. For the majority of women, they like you. You may not know that they like you, but they like you.
Yeah. Not all women, but the majority. Sure.
They could just not believe in the baby deletion. People go to full term on grapes. People go full term on one night stands. People go full term as prostitutes because they just don't believe in baby deletion.
A lot of them go full term out of sight.
I clearly said majority.
Well, yeah,
I said majority.
You ain't say majority at first, but I'm with you though.
Majority of the women, there are always exceptions. We understand that. But majority of women ain't just out here having sex with men that they don't like in some type of way, whether it's your money, something about you she's attracted to, okay? So, and then to go to the point where she actually had, now don't get it twisted. I know there's one night stands, and those are very minimal, small, you know. Most women who have a kid like that man at that point. That's why you got baby mama drama. It ain't because she don't like, she don't want you. It's because you done moved on, and she don't like the fact that she done moved on.
That's fair.
She wants to be with you, and she can't.
That's fair.
Myron Scott with the 10 ball. We used to have the same values, but those were religious values. Everyone wants to do their own thing. Here is the freedom women fought for.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Myron Scott with the 10 ball again. We appreciate you, big dog. This is why shame was valuable, because you wouldn't have support in the community.
For sure.
Ooh, that's a whole nother conversation. All Seeing Eye with 499. We appreciate you again. Women hold the key to the child as well. A lot of deadbeat dads are not even that. Shan act like these women don't keep kids from their fathers.
Oh, I agree. There are women who keep their kids. They get bitter because they want to be with you and you're not being with them. And so they feel like the get back is, I won't let you see your kid. There's an order in this.
Who gets hurt when they do that?
The kid does. I'm not.
And the dad.
I'm not.
Yeah.
That's not the argument. But what I'm saying to you is, if we're going to take responsibility, like Ebony's taking responsibility, both parents need to be in a household. It wouldn't even get that far as you're going to marry her.
I mean,
she ain't going to get crazy. She can't keep you from your kids because you in the household. You done married her.
So the thing is, though, with you saying that, and I get it, I agree. But as we also agreed to, that a lot of women don't want to do the work to become a wife. You know what I'm saying? For a man to even want to marry.
But the thing, I get that, but you shouldn't be sliding up in her. If she ain't doing the work to be a wife, why is you planting the seed in her?
I agree.
She ain't wife material.
I agree.
Why is the most precious thing you got
idiotic
of your legacy? Are you planting it inside of her?
It's idiotic. I agree.
Because there's something you like about her.
Shan, can I ask you a question?
That vagina.
Shan, can I ask you a question right quick?
Yes, HD.
Okay, so do you agree that women control sex?
Yes.
She said.
Do you agree that men control marriage?
Yes.
Okay, so do you think men are the main reason why there are less marriages and women are the main reason why there's more kids?
Yes.
Okay, so with that being said, if there's a bunch of kids hanging around, why can't we put more blame on women if women control sex versus men control marriage, and why we aren't getting more married?
I have a question. Who controls the sperm?
No, you can't.
No, just yes or no. I answer your questions. Who controls your sperm, HD?
The DNA bank.
HD. Who controls? I want to know who controls your sperm.
The man controls sperm, 100%.
Okay, so do you not? We just had this conversation. Do you not need sperm to make a baby, or can you go without the sperm to make the baby? I want to know. I'm clueless.
Well, the answer is the correct answer is you need sperm and an egg, because if you have sex with a woman that does not have an egg, and you have sex with that woman and give her a seed, you cannot have a child.
Let me ask you a question.
Bishop to E7.
So let me ask you. You're right. It takes two to tangle. Let me ask you a question. What would happen? let me ask you a question, HD. What
Right.
would happen
Definitely got to
if
clear that
there
up
were
now.
no abortions? There were no contraceptives. If it was just God, your body, the way it's supposed to be.
Wait, what?
No, so let me just take that back. Are you suggesting that she should kill the kid?
I'm not suggesting that you should kill the kid. What I'm
So let me ask,
suggesting is you should. There is a order of how things are supposed to go. There's
for
a reason
sure.
why you need an egg and a sperm in order for these things to happen.
I
These
agree.
things are supposed to happen for a reason.
So let me ask you a question. Do men submit to women or do women submit to men? Who's the leader?
Ooh, she wasn't
Well,
actually in chat.
honestly, right now, both people are leaders because both people doing what they want to do.
No. I
Because
want
we
to
can't
ask
keep
you in the
arguing.
grand
We
scheme of
can't.
things, because we
We
were
Who's the
talking
can't
leader?
about
keep
Who's the leader at Ebony
arguing.
K. Williams' house?
We
Who's the
talked
leader at her
about
house?
marriage, and we talked about women not doing what they're supposed to do. They don't submit. Okay. So with that being said, in a situation like this, do men submit to women or do women submit to men? Are men the leaders or are women the leaders?
Ebony K. Williams is 100% the leader because she has.
I'm not talking about Ebony. Me and him are having a conversation. Well, you've already said that's wrong. So me and him are having a conversation. Are men the leaders or are women the leaders?
They're both leaders because here's why I say this. Everybody has the freedom to do what they want to do, right? And then you also have to understand that with all of this freedom that we got, it's like you can't hold anybody accountable if everybody can do whatever it is that they want to do. Now,
I
if you
agree
want
with
to
that.
make the argument of how it should be, then the men should be in the lead. But guess what? We've been making the argument of what it should have been with Ebony K. Williams, but then you want to backtrack off of that just to make this
I agree
conversation
with
last
you.
longer than it should.
I'm just gonna say this. You can't say she's wrong and then this is the problem. I'm neutral in both. I can sit here. I'm gonna say women shouldn't be opening their legs to men. I'll have that. But what I'm saying to you is just like she's responsible for the decision she's making, you need to know that you control your sperm. Because I don't know, for whatever reason, I guess men think we just, you go in and you grab it and you just, I don't know what they think you do.
Called IVF. What you just
Right.
described was IVF.
So you're saying that most kids, are born from IVF. Most kids out here who are born of single parent households are born of IVF.
No one said that. We haven't argued that all night. We already said, man, look, men, we've already said it's men's fault when all of this stuff go down. I'm consistent on that. Now, when you create a scenario where there is no man, 100% I blame women. That's that's the first time you ever heard me say that. But if you don't have a man and you choose to have a child, that's 100% your fault. 100% her fault.
Yeah,
all her fault. She is the leader in that household. All of that falls on her.
I agree. This is a totally different. I'm addressing something that HD stated. So my question is specifically to HD. I wanted to know who can, because we're not going to sit here and say, now I'm going to agree with you. I do think that women need to stop to close their legs. I'm on the close your legs committee. Okay. I think that if all women just close their legs before marriage, all these issues will go away. Right. You're never going to hear me say anything different than that. Okay. Now saying it and doing stuff is two different things. Okay. But so I'm not taking accountability from the female, but I want to make sure we hold both accountable, because you need an egg and you need a sperm. Outside of an IVF, which is a very small percent, most people can't even afford that, okay? Because these 70% of kids ain't being born from IVF. They being spoiled because you stuck your little thing inside it and you didn't put nothing on top of it, okay? So,
hey, Shan, can before you go into this long soliloquy, I agree.
I'm done. That's all I wanted to say.
I agree that men should be responsible for their seed. I also agree that women should be responsible for, who they have sex with.
Oh, for sure.
Just like men should be responsible for who they have sex with. Just like men are responsible for who they marry and decide who they want to be responsible for. And the same way, women are responsible for who they agree to marry.
I agree.
So that's the reason why we had that whole thing last class, as far as two things can be true, and that the reality is this situation, we don't know what it's going to go, how it's going to go in actuality. Me personally, I don't care, because the simple fact of the matter is she made a decision. She's grown, and she thought this is what she should do. So I don't care nothing about this. But the
Look,
thing is, what were you about to say, Marcus?
No, I was gonna say I just want to send a shout out to all the responsible men that went and got a vasectomy and
That's
protected
an option.
that protected their seed. And I like to highlight that black male sperm is some of the most expensive sperm to go buy from the IVF. I don't know if she
Yep.
had a discount coupon or not, but it's because we not reckless with our seed. Black men, y'all doing y'all thing. Keep it to yourself.
Keep it to yourself.
Yeah, she made a whole lot of money for
The
IVF
smartest
too.
thing I
Black
done heard
males.
all night. Keep that expensive seed to yourself.
But back to what HD was saying, it all goes back to morals and ethics, values, and that's something that's at the very beginning and the heart of what we as a community have gotten away from. You guys mentioned shame. I remember I was in 7th grade, and there was someone in the school that was pregnant. You talk about the buzz. I mean, it was shameful. I think that people knew that there were people having sex, unfortunately, but the fact that that person got pregnant was like, wow. It was shame. It was shame in that. Now we embrace it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not saying that you disown your child or your family member, but you didn't encourage it and go on to have a gender reveal for your 14-year-old.
You did.
Or,
Real.
there is a difference between loving your child and not encouraging the action. And it goes back to, I think, what Inaz was saying about having a platform and being careful how you tout certain things. We all don't have that sort of platform. Some of you may, but you have a platform with people who look up to you, whether it's a platform of 4 or whether it's a platform of 10,000, it's still influence. And you have influence over your children, your sons, your daughters, your nieces, nephews, siblings. I'm sure there's someone who looks up to you, and we have to go back to the heart of it all. Morals, ethics, values, and we have to instill that in our children so that they can take value and take pride in having good character, which is hard to find. We're talking about personal. I could talk about that all day when we translate it to business and finding employees and integrity and all that stuff. Across the board, moral compass is just not as high as it used to be.
It's in the trash.
Wow. Tan, where have you been, girl?
Child be trying to make
Daggone.
Tan get on here. Tan be like, I got things to do.
But no, I really meant it earlier when I was talking to Marcus. He literally has one of the most true north compasses in regards to morality and ethics of any man that I have ever met. And he doesn't play in the gray area with you, even though he can argue the point of the gray area and has refused to tonight, sir.
Kids. It's kids.
So let's talk. So can we? Because we got to go to the next one. And can you table it, because it's gonna go into this. You're gonna have an opportunity to say, I promise you.
Do we want to finish the super chats, or do we have any more?
We got more. I did.
Oh,
I chose it.
Shan chose violence tonight. Fight.
Friday. Isn't it fight night? What did it fight night?
No, not normally. Normally we have a pretty, we keep it pretty civil. Sir Shy with the 2-ball. Good seeing Tan. I agree. Shandy and Enos. Oh, always a beautiful panel around here. Salute to the panel. Mally Ma with the $1.99. Her body, her choice. Ultimately, her responsibility.
If so,
That's a fact. We can't even argue that.
But isn't your sperm part of your body? Your choice to sit it somewhere?
Not if it's in a refrigerator.
Not that. I'm just saying, period. Okay, so let's go into this because I'm gonna do 2 videos back to back. I hope y'all grab because we gotta sum this thing up. We're gonna just try to do 2 in 1, okay? And if I have to replay them, that's fine. We're gonna do one and then the other one. Hold on.
Do you guys know the number 1 indicator for how children grow up to thrive?
I thought it was the daddy in the house.
Absolutely not.
What's
Believe
that?
it or not, it is the quality of their mother's happiness. Because if you have a depressed mother, if you have an anxious mother, if you have a mother with post-traumatic stress disorder who is having to disconnect from her own body, she cannot show up to nurture you. She cannot show up to support you. She cannot fully step into that space. And what she will teach you about being in relationships with other people, whether you can trust them, whether you can trust yourself, whether you can actually be committed and connected to somebody and know that they will reciprocate that to you in a healthy way. She teaches you that not through her words, but through her actions.
It's another one.
Relationship that black men have with their kids, the fucked up part about it is black men love their kids through the mama's eyes. If you love the mama, you're gonna love the kid. If you hate the mama, you might not really want to have a relationship with the kid because you hate the mama.
Nigga, please. Oh shit.
Y'all, there's a beetle in my house. And that thing, I'm telling y'all.
Sorry about that, y'all.
I think both of them are pandering.
It's something that had wings. It was like this. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It seemed like both of them videos they're pandering to their demographics. I did see that first video prior, and although I do agree with her to an extent, the environment is everything. The environment that a child, an adult that they're in, that's everything. But
I think that she may be thinking single parenthood. I don't think that would be the case with 2 parents in a household. I think that that's more geared towards
she's
the
talking
mom.
about she's talking about a single parent home. But that's why I say that it seems like that's more so pandering to solidify being okay with raising a child in that type of environment.
And to add on, I'm sorry. Dude.
Then the second guy, I don't know what the fuck he was talking about. I don't think that men love their children through their mother's eyes. Men that love their children, they're going to love their child through their own eyes. How they see their child is going to be completely different from how their wife and or mother of the child would. So I think both of them are silly.
Okay, so I want to say that if that woman who said that, she must be right, because I guess these mothers who abandon their kids and have single parent homes that are the fathers who end up with great results, the mom must be really happy not taking care of her kids, because those kids have some of the best outcomes according to that. Do you see the correlation? A single father raised home has some of the highest outcomes. So if she's saying that those moms who leave the kids and abandon them and just be the father by herself are happier without their kids, is that the argument she's making?
I think that I think there's some legitimacy to that, actually. I think that women are emotional creatures, right? And so if the woman, for the most part, the woman is the caretaker of the household, right? And in the few cases where the men are more logical, women are more nurturing, more emotional. So when you have a situation and the kids are with the mom and she's going through, she's holding it down for the mom and the dad, it can be stressful. I don't think women's bodies are made the same as men's bodies. I think that you guys are designed to be able to carry way more than we're designed to carry, right? And so ours shows up a little different than the way yours shows up. And so maybe that is the reason why if the dad did have the kid, that, you know, in some situations, he's able to handle that stress a whole lot better than she's able to handle that stress.
And the other statement the dude made, I seen a comedian tell that joke, and he just said it with music that made it seem like it was the truth. I
Well,
heard
I don't think that that's majority. So I don't think that that video was to represent majority of the people. But I'm not gonna say that I haven't seen people who go get married to other people and they just leave their kids behind. Like I've seen that happen and I've seen that in my real life.
is that the minority or is that?
Oh, for sure, the minority. It's not the majority. That was not a majority video, but those people do exist.
Because from what I've seen men want to delete the mother of their child so they can get their child. I've seen men
That's not
hate guts and want to be in their child's life. I think that men love their children independent of how they feel about the mother, like super independent of that.
And I think that that's the point in the other video, right? So this is the thing. This is how, and this is my co-parenting talk. You need two healthy adults it's like a business relationship, who are going to do what's right for the kids. Imagine two people who are supposed to be on your team, two coaches, and they can't get along, and they're responsible for getting you over the finish line. But these Negroes fuss and they hate each other's guts, right? Imagine growing up in a situation where my parents don't even like each other. Like, how toxic is that? This is the issue I have with the entire situation. People, just like sex, people devalue childbirth, right? For a person to even put themselves through a situation where they can potentially lose their life to create something that would carry on your last name. How do we hate that person, right? And you can have a true enemy out there and don't hate them as much as you hate a person you're co-parenting with. And it's vice versa. Same with women. When you're talking about a man who you have a kid with, who is the other half of your child, and you hate them so much, and it's people who've done you a whole lot worse than this person, okay? But you can forget, and these are people that you have to see all the time. And somehow y'all think in your hatred for each other, y'all gonna raise a kid that is gonna be psychologically all there. It doesn't work that way. You gotta be together and say, all right, at some point this did not work out. It's a business relationship. Imagine two people running the business and they can't get along with each other. They just fussing and fighting. How well do you think that business is gonna go? Go ahead, AP.
I don't know what that second brother was talking. The second video with that brother, I don't know what he was talking about. Dude, Marcus has already pointed out a couple scenarios, but dudes paid $30,000 to try to get their kids. Dudes will move across the country because the mom moves so that they can see their kids. Dudes will be to the hell with the mama. It's all independent of the mother, period. Now, on the first video, gentlemen are going to disagree with me. I actually agree with her when we're talking about a two-parent household. The mom actually controls the temperature of the entire house. That includes your mood as a man, not just the kids, your mood, how you move throughout the house. And if she can have that effect on you, imagine the effect that she has on the kids as the nurturer of the home. Now, in a single parent household, if it's a mom, obviously, like that's pretty obvious. But in a two-parent household, she absolutely controls if a kid goes to school happy, if a kid is doing their homework, or if they're not doing their homework. Because in my home, I'm not going to say a traditional home, in my home, it was I'm working till 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. So yes, she absolutely controls that. We have to be honest in this conversation. But that second dude was so far off that it was actually the reason why I stood up. I'm like, man, F that dude. He is wrong. I have never looked at my kids through the lens of the relationship that I have with their mom, that doesn't make any sense to me. And I'll stop there.
So I agree with most. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tan.
No, you can go ahead.
I think she's waiting for you, Enos.
Yeah, I was just struggling again. Thanks, Tan. So I agree with like 90% of what you said, AP. The one part that like I don't agree with is that women don't set the temperature of a household. It's always the man. And that's what makes the difference of whether that woman has a positive environment for the children or not, right? And here's why I say that. If that man is a good, honest man, doing everything he's supposed to do and all of that stuff, and we're assuming that she's a good woman as well, he can be out the house for 14 hours, barely be present, but his influence takes over. She knows if something comes up, he's going to be there. She knows if she needs backup when it comes to discipline, that he's going to be there. All of that stuff allows her to rest in her femininity and continue to create and nurture the positive environment that he's instilled, right? When we see some of these men, because I think this is what the video was talking about, some of these men that don't do the things that they're supposed to do, that don't show up as the men that we would hope for them to, that woman then takes on a burden. Because that was just a short clip in a longer interview. That's what she's talking about. She's talking about the women who should leave for their happiness in order to have a happier environment. It's always dependent on the man.
May I rebut real quick, Miss Tan? Okay, so I understand what you're saying, but are women not allowed to have bad days? And is it our job as men to remain stoic, right? That's our job, so that we don't make emotional and irrational decisions for the home. Who is responsible for the day-to-day care of the children? Typically, it's the female. While I agree that it is a man's responsibility to return his home back to center, and I believe that he must understand his woman in order to do that. However, if a woman's having an off day, she 100% controls the way the home works, the way the home, well, not works, because I think that's the man, the feeling inside the home. So with that being said, if she's having an emotional day, let's say she's having that emotional week, and I'm not saying this should happen all the time, by the way, but if she's having that emotional week and we as men can't really I hate the word can't really pull that back, we got to give her that space. She controls that temperature of the house. I don't think that there's aside from Marcus, I don't think that there's a man on this panel who says that they can control 100% how their woman feels. But we have to understand that we can help adjust that temperature. But if she doesn't calm down, the home is hot. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Now, I believe that we should understand our women, and we should understand that if maybe it's a tub of ice cream and maybe it's a hug, who knows? But you have to understand your woman enough to understand what it will take to cool the temperature down in the house. But she 100% controls it. Period. We can only help adjust it. We're the thermostat. She's the air that comes out. If the air conditioner not working, then it's a whole nother problem. But I think from that video, I think he was talking from a longer term standpoint. Now, we don't need to have chaos inside of our homes, and I believe men are responsible for fixing that. Yes. But in regards to how the kids are, the kind of day the kids end up having, shit. The direction of the house, yes. Kind of day, like that's on the woman. We can't control 100% of the house. That's the reason why you have a woman. I mean, shit. Pardon my language. I'm sorry. I'm not cursing at you, Enos. Sorry.
Tan. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, HG. Whatever.
Yeah, real quick.
I believe Tan was next, sir. You just gonna cut off Tan? Is that what you gonna do?
Yes, for the time being, you
Fuck
know.
Tan. Is that what you just said? No, I'm just playing. Go ahead.
Absolutely not. Why are you being so vocal with the nice ladies on the panel?
Bro,
Are you choosing violence with me, AP?
I have had 7 shots. I don't know what's
Yeah, I
going
was
on.
gonna say that's 1738. He been throwing back.
Jeez, God dang.
Go ahead.
My bad,
you used
bro.
to be the smooth operator. Now you're out here just trying to murder people.
But
Jeez.
no. Look, I think Inaz actually picks on me sometimes, and I be getting in my feelings. She controls my temperature sometimes on the panel.
Listen, I thought Inaz would she had laser focus on me like she has laser focus on Chaotic. I thought I was public enemy number 2. But, upon further conversation, I just realized that, she just don't agree. And she's gonna voice that she don't agree. So I mean, it is what it is. But on this particular case,
well, quit being wrong.
Well, actually, I wasn't wrong. It just was a difference.
I'm just messing with you, bro. Go ahead.
But anyways, before I was rudely interrupted by the AP. But
wait a minute, bro. Yeah, that was me. I'm sorry. My bad.
But I think the problem with what you're saying, AP, is that too many men allow their women to quote unquote set the temperature when it's the man's responsibility to set the atmosphere. And she's supposed to follow the example that you set. If she's out here losing her goddamn own mind in the house, you just gonna let her do that and think that she don't control the temperature of the house? If your woman is in the house and she's unhappy and she wants everybody to feel the same way that she feels, you don't have to just let her be up in the house losing her goddamn own mind just because she feel like she got the right to, because she feels some type of way. And that's the reason why I don't agree with you that she sets the temperature. But I do understand the impact that a mother and a woman has, that she can for sure shift the atmosphere in the house. Because if your woman is able to quote unquote set the temperature of the house, she is then the leader. Because the thing is back in the day, you was told not to touch that thermostat. You know why? It's because there's other people that are the leader of the household and they set the temperature of the home. So I think that, in my personal opinion, that I understand what you were saying. I just don't agree with the way that you use the terminology that she sets the temperature. She definitely has a massive impact. A lot of times when women have a bad day, you about to have a bad day. But that don't mean you can't sit up here and say, girl, you done lost your goddamn on mind. You need to chill out. And if she wants to continue to have an attitude, you can let her have her attitude, and then you can continue to go on about your business. I just think too many men have learned the behavior, happy wife, happy life. And I'm going to do whatever I can and not piss her off. And then I will continue to get to what I get to for me after she is in her world and she's happy, And I think too many men have adapted that mentality, and it has caused the downfall of a lot of relationships.
So
Yeah.
I'm just going to quickly say, first of all, I don't actually agree with the terminology happy wife, happy life.
AP, you gotta let Tan go, man. God damn.
Oh damn, I just did what HD did. Shit. My Tan, I am so sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So what I had to say is greatly reduced at this point. But just to, I guess, follow up on a couple of tidbits. The first video that the female said, my viewpoint was she was talking about from a 2-parent household. That was my viewpoint. And it was from the angle That if the woman is, anxious, depressed, and all of those things, because to me, like AP said, if it's a single household, I mean, that's kind of a given. But the point was, if you're in a two-parent household, and if the woman is all these things, is that is that the best environment just because it's a two-parent home, quote unquote? I think that was maybe the point that was thrown out there for reason to debate, probably. And then back to what I believe AP was saying initially about the woman setting the tone and things like that. And if she's unhappy and all of these things, for HD saying, if it sounded like you were talking from the standpoint of if she's having a fit and she's, just out of place. But that may be one situation, but that's maybe not always the case, right? Maybe she lost her job. There's so many different situations, and I hate when people try to put people in a box with just this one paintbrush stroke of this is the situation. She's just going off on her man, maybe, or she's just out of place and out of pocket and wilding out. That may be the case in one situation, or she may be anxious for another situation. You never know the family dynamic, her family situation. Maybe there's a death. Maybe you don't know what the situation is for being anxious or depressed or unhappy. It could be a myriad of reasons. We don't know. There are a bunch of different circumstances. However, with that being the case, the woman, even in marriages, not sure, how many are married, but even in marriages, many times the woman is the one who is around the kids or nurturing the kids or in the household, quite frankly, with the kids majority of the time, even in marriages. Do I agree that the man should set the temperature? Yes, absolutely. The man should be the leader because the man ideally should submit to God. So I think a woman should follow a man if he submits to God. And if he is a God-fearing man, then yes, the woman should submit to him. If he is not, I don't know who his leader is, where he's getting that guidance from. But if the man submits to God, yes, the woman should submit to her man who has provision over her and her household and her family and her children. I think that is the order. So yes, the man ideally should set the temperature for the home, but realistically, there are situations where the woman is definitely influential, very influential in the environment of the home.
And across the board, be it with the dad, the father, the husband, be it with the children, be it with the pets. 9 out of 10 she cooking now maybe everybody eating this negative ass energy. There's a saying of hell has no fury like a woman scorn. That they say that for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with, I understand what HD is saying. I agree with Tan that yes, men are supposed to set the tone. But in my opinion, I think that women essentially really have the most influence over it. Because again, if she's not in a good mood, she having a bad day, she's experienced postpartum, whatever the case may be, it's so many things that women deal with that men don't deal with on that same level, or if they go about it and handling it a different type of way. So now men, we're trying to juggle how to essentially handle this woman. Do I need to give my advice, or do I just need to let her vent? Do I need to give her a space, or do I need to come in and hold her? You know what I'm saying? It's always a juggling act with women. So with that being the case, women essentially, in my opinion, they set the tone with that. So I have to agree.
Okay, so I think that men 100% set the tone of a house, and I can explain how that would look. When you initially are getting in a relationship, I think this is why I don't argue either within a relationship. The parameters in which we engage with each other are this: respectful communication and to not say things that we can't take back. If you're in a bad mood, you can take time to yourself. but you cannot put that mood on other people. If you have to separate yourself for a second, a minute, an hour, things get hectic, you may need to remove yourself and just take a personal day. I am fine with that, but you will not come and drag the entire energy of this home down. That's not occurring. That is outside the parameters of the rules of this relationship. If you would like to do something outside of that, I'm not the man for you. That's abundantly clear in the beginning of this relationship.
That doesn't mean that that's going to maintain
reckless to me. You will be raising your voice and yelling at me, and I won't be doing those things to you. These are the parameters. Exist in here, and we have a relationship. You step out of this box, we do not have a relationship no more.
That sounds good, but I think that's an unrealistic expectation when you're 3, 5, 10 years in. I mean, that works for. Again, I understand, I get it, I agree, but realistically, when you're dealing with another person, that's not going to be the case every single time, unless you have an extremely submissive woman. You know what I'm saying? So I get it, but in most cases, I would say that that's long term that may be unrealistic.
I'll also say, you know, even with Marcus's standpoint, it sounds like you're talking about, you know, your woman not getting out of pocket or out of line and respecting you. That's not always the case for anxiety, right? I think I gave a few examples of which are not being combative or arguing with your significant other, such as maybe her family member died, right? Everybody, man or woman, has a right to feel upset, hurt, disappointed, depressed in certain situations. So it's, again, for me, I always like to look at things from both standpoints, not to say I'm, you know, disagreeing with either, but I always I'm a realist. I try to look at things from multiple standpoints, multiple angles, reality. And you can't control a person's feelings 100% of the time. You can't control the way a person reacts 100% of the time. That's very controlling. Even if you would like to, that's very confident, but you cannot do that 100% of the time. A person is entitled to feel the way they're going to feel. And it's this thing, and it's a journey called life. And you are going to feel the emotions of life. You live long enough, you're going to feel certain things. And I'm talking about things outside of, I get what you're saying, Marcus, as respect each other, right? The parameters of marriage, respecting me, respecting you. I lead the household as a man, a God-fearing man should lead the household, lead his wife. But I'm saying outside of that kind of situation, because hopefully most marriages don't have that situation 3/4 of the time, like majority of the time, hopefully that's not the situation.
Right.
There are other things just called life. And in that space, there are going to be times where, yes, the woman may not feel whatever. And you ever seen a little child come up to, oh, mommy, are you sad? Or mommy, what happened? Or if you put your hand on the stove and you accidentally burn yourself, oh, what happened? So I think from that standpoint of, yes, a woman is influential in some aspects, not that she, albeit the end all be all inclusive, controls the temperature, but I think a woman is definitely influential in many aspects, even in marriage, because even in marriage, I'll say that.
So just real quick, so this is why I say the woman controls the temperature. The man builds the house. The man puts certain things inside the house. He basically gives the foundation to the house, and that's how I see the man, as being the foundation of the way the house is run. Right? There's a reason that phrase that women and children make a house a home. Because you leave it up to us men, we'll have the four cold walls, a TV, a bed, and some clothes, and call it. That's the way a single man and a bachelor moves. Like I don't need a whole bunch, just enough to go to Pound Town and keep it moving. That's the way of that single man, which is why I looked at that video from the aspect of it being both a man and a woman. Now, once a woman comes in, she makes it warm. She makes it homey. She makes those four walls, she gives it like life and purpose. And by having kids, that increases the vibrancy of the home that she created from the house that was built by the man. Thus, is for that reason, she controls the temperature, especially considering in most cases, if we're speaking from a traditional standpoint, because I like to look at things that way, because that's the way I have my house. I'm not home. For example, I'm traveling out of town for 4 days, and I expect my house to be run a very specific way. But what happens when I come back and it's a little bit colder than normal? Then it's my job to figure out why it's colder than normal, try to return it back to a normalcy. But who is the person that was responsible for getting it that way? So if you don't think a woman controls the temperature of the house, especially from a traditional standpoint, then I think you either have an ego problem or control problem or both. You have to take that other person into account. But yes, it is still your responsibility to get it sorted out as quickly as possible, so that you can return the house back to what your expectation is. And I do believe that to be the responsibility of the man.
So per your example, I have an ego problem and a control problem because I don't believe that women set the temperature for the house.
Marcus, I'm actually, because I know a little bit more about you. I would say your circumstance is different, and of course, I'm not going to talk about any of it here. But your circumstances are a little different than many. Most, most of us here.
I think that what I've learned from Marcus, I think that yes, if she's being irrational, right? Like if there's something that she is that, but I just the way you talk, Marcus, if she lost a parent.
I'm gonna support her. We're gonna give her love. She gonna get sympathy. We gonna help her work through it. All of those things. I'm still in control of them. If she decides she want to come in and start throwing stuff, she's removed out of what I set the tone of. That's not acceptable. So when I'm saying things that are acceptable,
what would that look like? Maybe
I don't even know what it looked like because I ain't seen none of that craziness. But in the event that it did, it wouldn't look like something that lasts long. That's what I know what wouldn't be happening. But
that's all I'm saying.
A whole lot of love within the house. All you coming here is kids playing, people laughing and having a good time. That's like 99% of the day. And then the kids throw a tantrum. Now that we got to work through and try and talk to them. And I'm teaching them how to control their emotions. Hey, Araya, look, I know you're mad and you're upset, but baby, you have to become in control of yourself. It's difficult. What are you feeling right now? Baby brother stole my toy and he hit me in the eye. He's a baby. He does not know better yet. But you got to be patient with him. We just got to be patient with him. I'll take him in the other room, but you got to be patient with him. Get this baby out of here. What I tell you, lower your voice. First of all, you don't speak like that to me. You don't speak like that to any adults at all. Now, I understand you're frustrated, but you're still going to behave yourself.
So let me ask you a question. Let's reverse it. If he loses his job or something happens to him at work and he's frustrated, is it okay for her to kick him out the house?
You can leave the house so you calm down. That's more than, if you need to take some time to gather yourself, that's more than acceptable. What you won't do is terrorize people within the home.
Okay. So you're just saying you encourage her to leave the house.
If you need to, I've never ran into a situation where she needed to leave. But if you need to take some personal space in order to gather yourself, that's more than fine. You will not sit in this house and terrorize people because you're in a bad mood. No one will do that, include myself. That's not acceptable.
Well, I don't think that it's about bad. So I think you're taking it from a bad mood. So this is the issue. Let's just say she found, God forbid, it's a health scare, right? And so she's emotional about it.
We're gonna support her and love her.
Right. I was thinking, like, where's the support here? Like, okay, because you ain't want to leave that person by themselves, even in a situation where there's a death. you would want to, even if it's like, hey, let's find somebody to take a grandparent to get the kids, and I'm going to console my wife, or I'm going to console my husband because they're going through something right now.
Yeah, that's baked
I think
in.
that's what Tan was saying. I think you were taking it to the extreme, like, oh, she's mad.
Yes.
I didn't even hear what Tan said. I went and got something to drink. I came back when so I wasn't talking to
that
Tan.
makes sense. Okay.
I was talking to the answer to the question.
I was like,
I
wait
went
a
and
minute,
got some,
Marcus. The girl,
no, I wasn't speaking to you, Tan.
taking her out the house.
No, I was. So when I left, AP was saying that the women set the tone in the house, and I came back and I kind of heard the tail end of what Tan was saying.
Oh, gotcha.
Then AP said,
I know
if
Marcus
you don't
not
think
that
the
kind of
woman,
person.
if you don't think the woman control the tone of the house, then you're
Whoa! I did not say tone. I didn't say tone. I said temperature. Let's be very
okay. Temperature,
Two very different things.
Either one. Temperature, tone, color, whatever you want to say. No, it's still parameters in which we operate within the home. There's expectations. There's expectations for myself. There's expectations for you, and there are expectations for these children that are adjusted to their age and ability. Continue to adjust into their functional adults.
Right. So yes, so I understand it, sure, but Tan was just saying, sometimes life happens, and sometimes those moments of depression, or those moments of being the way that are sometimes by life, not necessarily because they're mad at you or they're not or something of that situation.
Yeah, so you also got to understand this. I operate from the stance that happiness is my normal. Positivity is my normal. So when you talk about setting the tone, something outside of that, it would have to be to the negative because I expect it to go good.
As you should. I think every household should. All that I'm saying is that we as human beings are emotional beings, and at some point, throughout life, someone is going to experience X, Y, and Z, and as we've talked about numerous times, especially as men, with remaining stoic, we understand that controlling or suppressing those feelings has the potential of imploding at some point. So
sorry, Vince.
So it is. I think that is one of those deals where, where of course a person should be able to express themselves emotionally, however that looks like, of course, within the parameters of what this household stands on. But it's still to an extent of where it's like, okay, well, I get it. I'm gonna let you vent, have your moment, whatever the case may be, and then we get back to normal.
Did you see when that painting fell? That shit was hilarious. I don't know if y'all seen it. That shit was hilarious.
What painting?
I had the windows open, and in the sunroom, it's like the wind can blow straight through, right? So it got behind the painting and took it off the wall. It smacked me in the head, and then I looked like I jumped when it happened. Like when Mario would be like, do, and then fall through. That's why I was laughing, because TK was referencing that. Yeah, my fault.
I think that we got did we have any more super chats? No, I think that's it.
I think it was one more that came through.
Thank you. Both videos are nonsense. Enos, why a black man getting caught up by Asians? Huh? So Shy, what are you talking about? So Shy.
Oh, like the Fresh and Fit dude, he got trapped. Well, they thought he got trapped by the Asian woman, and I heard they paying 70.
Oh, what happened?
She not pregnant, according to the internet, and I heard they paying $75K for black male sperm.
Yes, that's what I was saying. Black sperm is a premium, and just FYI, also, if you're 35 and older as a woman, that is considered high risk. Just in general.
But so let me ask you a
much they pay? How much they willing to pay for it?
Let me ask you a question. I saw a video that people overseas are looking for black sperm, right? Did y'all see that video? Or that's just here?
Seen the article that said it. I didn't see the video, but I saw the article.
Right. So why? So they're doing the same thing that Ebony doing, right? Because they don't want you; they just want the sperm.
If they get black male sperm with the structure they already have in place, they'll take over the world in a different way.
They
They'll
trying to. Yep.
Yeah, black male sperm.
Let's put that. Yeah, I was going to say something stupid, so let me not say it.
We had the ability to do that here, though, but we just have to set structure within our house. And
well, first of all, and this is what the next week's topic is going to be on. Black people, we're just so individualized. We can't get together and do nothing. We think so different. That's why our marriages don't work, because we all on an individual plan instead of to a partnership. With everything is individuals. I. What can you do for me?
like have a child by myself from IVF.
Happy.
Like have a child by myself from IVF.
Oh, I think that relationships are transactional. At the end of the day, and that'll be the harsh reality of somebody that wouldn't want to, or that is looking for that fairy tale, right? But I think that relationships, regardless, on every level, is transactional to an extent. But again, I think that is I think that it's a beautiful thing for us to have different perspectives and point of views, because that's what further pushes and tests the thought processes of people within the culture and the community to further advance it. But I think that when people take it personal, or they're not open to attempting something new or different, if things aren't working, then that's when we get to a standstill. That's when everything falls apart. And I think that that's a big part of what it is that we're seeing now.
You know what I think, and this is the conversation that we had towards the end of the night yesterday. I think that, some places friends are getting married. Did y'all see that video about the people over in Asia getting married for the benefits? Like, friends are getting married. I think that women can excuse a lot of stuff that they don't like about men if sex wasn't involved. For example, you could marry your best friend if he didn't require you to have sex with them. I think women would do that. I think some will do that. But he's going to want to have sex with you. And unfortunately, women want to. Woman has to have some type of attraction to you to want. And I know y'all say, "Oh, it's your duty." Do you want the robotics? Lift your leg. Don't kiss me. Some of you may. Some of y'all may be into that. But
maybe you're supposed to marry your best friend.
I was telling Marcus this. I know Marcus was on a panel yesterday, but I think that there is, the way things going. I think I can see people marrying their friends, right? Somebody they like, they're cool with being part of, get the benefits of it. They just ain't gonna have sex with them.
But I think you should be friends. Again, Shan, you know me. I'm probably hopeless romantic. But
no, I think you should be friends with your mate. But we're talking about, he was saying, give people that you don't normally going to give a chance. And the problem with that is women are just like men are sexual creatures. Women are too, like in a different way though. Men, women have to want to be intimate with you, to be intimate with you for some reason. Whether it's because you balling like that, it's got to be a reason. So she can't just be like, all of a sudden her eyes are attracted to this man, let me have sex with him. Unless she's a prostitute, because then it doesn't even make a difference. She probably ain't even looking at you no more. It's just like, where my money? But that's not most women. Most women have to at least see that man, an attraction in that man. Now, the great thing about women, though, attraction comes in different ways.
True.
It may not always be physical. It may be something else she's attracted to about him, is the way he acts, is the way he carries himself. That part is flexible. But to sit here and say, oh, because this guy is available, you should be with this guy, he's setting himself up for a sexless marriage.
I mean, so as I see it sometimes, you may not be attracted to someone at first, but the attraction kind of falls in place when you work with someone. You know, it may be a person you never ever outside of the workplace.
Yeah, but it was something about him that still was
Right.
attractive. You know
But
what I'm
once you
saying?
got to know the person, you know, maybe it was their heart, maybe it was, you know, their great listener, maybe, you know, whatever it was, all of a sudden you were not physically attracted, but to your point, there's something about you. You got to know the person and they became attractive, but it was you would have never looked at them ever.
And that's why I'm why I was totally against the whole deal with men being afraid to walk up and approach women, because if you never walk up to them and you don't know how to talk to a woman, then of course, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna lose all day. But you can be and I've seen it all my life where heavy set guys, they'll, you know, typically motherfuckers are, oh no, I'm not into those type of, but this motherfucker get to talking, they got game, they know how to dress, they funny, whatever the case may be. It could be a guy that's short and same deal. It could be a guy that's ugly, he's super black, got a crunchy face, same deal. If you got the game, you got the confidence, then you
Look,
don't win.
Biz, look, bro. If you describe me one more time, I'm gonna bust your head open, bro.
Let me just say this though. I get that, but again, women marry for different reasons, right? It could be that she loves your personality, but that don't mean she still want to have. She'll have sex with you, but it ain't gonna mean you're gonna get it often. You understand what I'm saying? So women will commit
That's
to
cold.
men.
That's cold fucking blooded.